Assalamu alaikum everyone, and in today's video we are going to talk about 5 reasons why students fail to improve their scores on the digital SAT. Right now, it is very important for us to understand the areas that we are faltering on in order to improve the scores, right? So I am going to be discussing 5 critical errors that normally the students make, that and because of those errors they fail to improve their scores on the SAT. And I would really want that you do not make those errors, so that you can go towards the improvement that you want. Right now, the first reason why the students fail to improve their scores on the SAT is the fact that they focus more on quantity rather than on quality. Right, you look at the students, right? हर स्टूडेंट किसी की भी आप बात करो, ही इज़ लाइक यार ज़्यादा प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट मिल जाए, मटेरियल मिल जाए, कहीं से मैं काम कर लूँ, ज़्यादा काम कर लूँ. तो ये ज़्यादा क्वेश्चंस करने की जो एक अर्ज है, द अर्ज टू डू मोर क्वेश्चंस, विच इज़ वेरी गुड, राइट? बट बिफोर एनालाइजिंग, before understanding the topics, before working on how things should be done, right? आप 6 प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट सॉल्व कर लें और आप टॉपिक्स को एनालाइज ही नहीं कर रहे, आप ये समझ ही नहीं रहे कि सवाल होता कैसे है, आप ये समझ ही नहीं रहे कि यार अप्रोच क्या है सवाल की, आप समझ ही नहीं रहे कि फॉर्मूला लगाना कब है, कब नहीं लगाना है. अगर आप ये सारी चीज़ें नहीं समझ रहे, तो अगर आप मिसाल के तौर पे बहुत सारी प्रैक्टिस भी कर लेते हो, तो दैट प्रैक्टिस विल नॉट गिव यू द रिजल्ट दैट यू एक्चुअली वांट, राइट? एंड दैट इज वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट and most crucial mistake that students normally make, and that is why they fail to improve their score. So that is the first thing that is the first mistake that students make, or I wouldn't want that you guys make that mistake, right? So always focused on quality first, right? Focus on getting around the questions, focus on analyzing the reasons of the wrong option choices, analyzing the reasons for the right option choices, working out the concepts, working out everything. First you go topical, and once you understand how things are to be done, then you can go full on, and you can go on with all the quantity and all the questions that you want. So this is a mistake I really wouldn't want you guys to make. So that is the first thing. The second thing that is very important is that the students should have to understand that the score reports are very important, right? ज़्यादातर स्टूडेंट्स को अगर आप देखें तो पहला प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट सॉल्व करने के बाद वो क्या करते हैं, दे स्टार्ट जंपिंग ऑन टू द नेक्स्ट प्रैक्टिस टेस्ट विदाउट इवन वर्किंग ऑन देयर स्कोर रिपोर्ट्स. योर स्कोर रिपोर्ट ऑफ एनी टेस्ट is a gold mine, guys, literally a gold mine. If you are not working on your score report, if you are not taking out if you are not doing an analysis of your score report, there is literally no point of moving on to the next test, right? That there's a reason you have that score report over there, right? So whenever you do a test, right, and you get that score report, what you have to do is you have to literally analyze that score report, see the mistakes that you have made, look at the recurring errors that you have, and then go topical, right? Solve those out and address those queries, address those problems, right? And only when you do that, move on to the next test. Otherwise, if you don't do that, you'll be making the same errors again. And even after doing 6 tests, I've had many students who solve 5-6 tests and they're like, our scores are not improving. Obviously they won't improve, because you're not doing any analysis. You don't know where you're going wrong. If you don't know where you're going wrong, how are you supposed to improve? You can't do that. That's not how it works, right? So it's very important that you analyze all the score reports after you solve the test, so that you can, before you move on to the next test, right, what you're doing wrong, and you consciously avoid that error in the next test that you do, right? So that is the second thing that you have to be very careful about. Now, the third mistake or the third problem that the students have, it is that they feel that there is only one way to solve a test, right? So what they do is they just when they get that test, when they start doing the digital SAT, they keep on solving it in the order that it is given, right? It's not always important. ये कोई ज़रूरी बात नहीं है कि जिस order में आपको test मिला हुआ है आप उस order में ही उसको solve करें, right? What you need to do is you have to leverage out on most of the questions. We have to understand the objective is not solving all the questions, although we have to solve all the questions, but objective is to get maximum number of questions right? So if we have to do that, the best way to do it is that we solve the questions that we are good at first, and then we move on to the next questions, right? So there is no fixed order of solving the questions, right? So for example, if I am good at standard English conventions, when I start the reading and writing section, I'll first go to question number 15 or 16. I'll start with standard English conventions, I'll do those questions first maybe, right? And then maybe I'll do expression of ideas, then maybe I'll come back to information and ideas. I'm just, taking a guess, right? You know what your expertise are, you know what you're good at, right? So just start with what you're good at and then move on to the other questions, so that you can leverage most out of the time that you have, right? So that is the third error that students normally make, and you don't have to make that error, right? Again, what you have to understand is, the fourth problem that normally students have is that they have really poor time management skills, right? And there are only two reasons, guys. There are only two reasons why anyone can have poor time management skills, right? The first is that they don't know the concepts. The second is that they have not done enough practice, right? If you don't know the concepts, even after doing the practice, you will struggle with the questions, and obviously when you will struggle with the questions, you will eventually end up with not doing all the questions, and you will lose time on it, right? And if you know the concepts and you have not done enough practice, right, then even after knowing the concepts, because you have not done the practice, because you cannot complete in the every question within the time frame that it deserves, you will be losing time and end up not solving the paper on time, right? So that will again be a problem for you. So that is the fourth problem that normally students have, and they lose a lot of score on that, right? Fifth and the final is that they don't understand, or they don't give time for to understanding what the question is actually asking, right? So you have to understand what the question is asking, you have to understand what the approach of the question is, you have to understand what objectivity you need to solve that question. Guys, you have all MCQs on the SAT. There are no open-ended questions, right? That means the answer to that particular question, or every particular question, has to be very objective. It will have very objective reasons for it, right? So you have to come about that reason. You have to firstly obviously understand the question's approach, and then look for what the question is precisely asking, if you want to get the right answer. If you'll go wayward, if you get irrelevant, you'll get the wrong answer, you get yourself trapped in the trick options, and you will lose a score. So these are the 5 things, these are the 5 problems, or these are the 5 mistakes that normally students make, and because of this they lose a lot of a score. I have identified these problems in this video so that you work on them and you don't make these mistakes, and you don't lose any score on the digital SAT. Guys, I hope this video has helped you. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.